guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about motivation and accomplishing your goals. So I've come up with 5 different things that halt our motivation and progress towards our goals. The first one being procrastination, the second one being stress, the third one being creativity, the fourth one being consistency, and then the fifth one being discipline. So I'm gonna go through all 5 of those and kind of explain to you guys how I overcome each one. So the first one that we have is procrastination. I found 4 things that usually spark procrastination, and I am going to go through each one. So the first one being overthinking. I feel like a lot of the times when we overthink things and overanalyze our goals or what we want to do in life, that creates overwhelm, and therefore we procrastinate because we're overthinking and overanalyze every little detail. And ultimately, the more time we spend thinking, the less time we spend doing. You want to focus on more doing and less thinking. So the second thing that leads to procrastination is being overwhelmed. When we have a big task or a big to-do and something seems a little bit too far out there, we tend to get really overwhelmed, and therefore we push it off to the side, creating procrastination in the process. My tip, if you have something that seems too big or daunting, is to break it up into smaller tasks. I personally love having a big, far-fetched goal and looking at it like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And I literally just spiderweb it out on a sheet of paper and write down tasks that I can do right now to help me get that much closer. For example, I've explained to you guys in a previous video of my podcast, like creating a podcast just seems so much work, but then I figured out, okay, I need to break it down into like buying the supplies. I need to break it down into actually editing. How am I even gonna get it up? So I have those 3 tasks, and then I break down those into even more tasks, and it eventually becomes a to-do list of things that you can do right now, and you slowly work your way up into the bigger tasks. So the third thing that I have that leads to procrastination is distractions. So we all have distractions, and that ultimately leads to procrastination because we spend more time on the distractions than we do on the bigger goal or the thing that we want to accomplish. Know what your distractions are. Is it the TV? Is it your phone? Is it a certain person or people in general? Is it your thoughts? It can even be another thing on your to-do list. When you're so focused on one task, I generally tend to like procrastinate my other tasks because I feel like I haven't accomplished this task yet. Think about what you're gonna feel like after you focus all of your time and all of your energy on your distractions versus how you're gonna feel after you spend that energy and that time on something that you want to accomplish. So it's generally up to you where you want to spend your time. And then the last and final thing that leads to procrastination is low dopamine in the brain. So dopamine is actually a neurotransmitter that leads to motivation and activates that chemical of reward and motivation within your brain. So I've actually done a whole podcast about that I'll leave linked in the description box if you guys want to learn more about the chemicals and the way the brain works on how to activate your happiness. But I found dopamine really interesting because it's literally the motivation chemical. So when we're not feeling motivated to do anything and we're procrastinating stuff, odds are we have very low dopamine in our brains. So I go really deep into like dopamine and the effects on the brain and stuff in the podcast, but some quick ways that you can actually increase dopamine in your system is to exercise, regulate your sleep, eating foods rich in tyrosine, just little things like that can definitely improve your dopamine and therefore increase your motivation and decrease your procrastination. So the second thing that leads to us accomplishing our goals or lack thereof is stress and managing our stress. When we are super stressed, we tend to focus and put all of our energy and time into figuring out why we're stressed and getting overwhelmed with the stress in general rather than doing the things that we want to do to accomplish our goals. So I came up with 4 ways to manage your stress, and the first one is to exercise. Exercise relieves your stress and also increases endorphins in the brain, which is another chemical that I've talked about in the podcast, but that releases the happy chemicals. Like if you guys ever had a runner's high after a workout, that's because you're increasing the endorphins in your brain, which also lowers your stress levels. Another thing that you can do to manage your stress is to give yourself a rest day. When we like literally push ourselves to the limit and we think like rest is like being lazy, it's not the case. I personally love to give myself rest days. For me, that's my Sunday routine. I like to clean, I like to read, I like to do some self-care, just kind of relax, you know, just Give yourself that rest day to manage your stress levels, because if you're go, 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 go all the time, you're gonna end up burning out and creating overwhelming stress from that burnout. The third way that you can manage your stress is to spend time with loved ones. This could be your family, friends, significant other, just people in general. For me personally, I really like to spend time with other people because my job is alone. It's just me, you know, like it can easily be a very lonely thing for me and create stress in the process because I'm not reaching out to other people or connecting with other people. So it's really important to ensure that your relationships are staying on track to help manage your stress. For me, I have a date night every single Friday with Noah. We alternate date nights. I go watch a TV show that me and my friend really like every single Wednesday. I like to go out on the weekends with my friends and grab a drink and some appetizers, and I throw in some family time in between my weeks, and that just helps ensure that I'm being around people and decreasing my stress in the process. And the fourth way that you can decrease your stress is your mental health. Mental health is number one. If your mental health is not in check, your stress is going to be way out of whack. When you're healthy mentally, it will show through accomplishment and good quality sleep, which therefore decreases your stress levels. So the third way that we see improvement in our goals and accomplishing our goals is staying creative. When we get that creative slump, generally our motivation to do the things to get us closer to our goals goes down the drain. I love a good routine. Trust me, I am like a creature of habit, but sometimes that's not always a good thing. You can get in some sort of rut by not sparking inspiration or motivation within your days because they become mundane. One of the things you want to keep in mind is to never get bored, because boredom creates lack of inspiration and lack of motivation and drive to do the things you want to do in life. When you find yourself getting bored, it's really important to either one, start a new project and get yourself pumped into something else, or two, improve the stuff that you're already working on right now and just focus on challenging yourself a little bit. I've actually read in multiple books that retirement is actually really bad for you, and retirement in the sense of not having any goals or anything that you're working towards, and that it can slowly kill you. Because with retirement comes no challenge, no drive, and ultimately no purpose in life, and it doesn't give you something to work towards. So when you work towards something, you're creating a structure for yourself and creating that sense of purpose and drive to be better and do better for yourself. So the fourth way that we can accomplish our goals is through consistency. Once you stop something, it makes it 10 times harder to start. Trust me from experience, this has happened to me, whether that's working out, doing YouTube, or even eating right. Once I stop, I find it really hard to start again. The more that you are consistent with your goals, the faster that you're going to see it grow, and the faster you're going to be able to accomplish these goals. Now, this is where routine comes into play and where it is actually good. Find what works best for you. For me, I like to have routine within my filming schedule, so I have actually shown you guys multiple times the way I film, and this has worked for me forever. I've created a routine and I've become consistent with it because it works for me. Another thing I like to do is through my weekly schedule, which I can film for you guys if you want. Just let me know in the comments down below. But I have a set work structure Monday through Friday that works for me. I've created a morning routine, I've created a night routine, and creating this routine creates consistency within my days, and therefore I can see my goals keep getting accomplished, and keep getting accomplished. I am consistent with myself, I'm consistent with my goals, and therefore I see them flourish. And the fifth and final thing that I have for you guys is discipline. So number one, you want to create accountability for your goals. If you don't hold yourself accountable, you are not going to create discipline, and you're not going to do the things that you're supposed to do in order to accomplish your goals. Something that I do that helps me hold accountability with my goals is to make it public or tell someone about my goals. I'm more disciplined to do it because I don't want to, first of all, let yourself down, but also let the people that you love down as well. The second way that you can create discipline is creating a priority list. If your priorities have shifted, or if your priorities are not what you think they are, you're not going to be disciplined enough to take action towards your goals. You have to truly want it, and for yourself. If you are doing it to prove something to somebody else or doing it for somebody else, you're not going to create discipline within your goals because your priorities are not in alignment with the goal that you want. You have to make sure that your priorities are aligned with the goals. If it's not, maybe you should be working towards some other goal instead, because that's probably why you are not accomplishing the goal in the first place. The third thing that you can do to create discipline within your goals is to value your worth. You have to know that you're worth it. You have to prove to yourself you're worth it and know your value. You have to be your own boss. No one is going to accomplish these goals but you, and if you're not feeling that you're worthy of this goal, you're never going to create discipline within it and accomplish the goal. You are either going to be your biggest driver or your biggest weakness, and you can pick ultimately what you want to be for yourself. And the fourth way to create discipline within your goals is to execute. Do it. Create habits for yourself. Create inspiration. Know your spark. What gives you that drive to create action? You have to know yourself. For me, that's my environment. If my environment is lacking inspiration, I'm lacking inspiration. So I personally know that when my environment is clean, it helps motivate me to execute my goals more. Another thing that helps is self-help books. When I read self-help books, I get super motivated and inspired. So I know to always be reading a motivational book. And that goes both ways. You also have to know your weaknesses. For me, that can be people around me, creating inconsistency, especially in the morning. When I start my mornings off bad, I know it's just downhill from there. I just know what works for me and what doesn't. So that is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it and got some motivation. Now I want you guys to challenge yourself, turn off the TV, turn off the computer, whatever you're watching this on, and go do something to accomplish your goals. I know you can do it. Trust me, it's really worth it when you allow yourself to be better and do better for yourself, and it's just such a great feeling. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you guys all in a future video. Bye guys.